Now, across Texas, the issue is...
And the Texas trio is back. State Senator Roland Gutierrez against Dallas Congressman Colin Allred. That's what it looks like the primary will be. Rudy Koski, you get the first dab at it. Our friend Mark Jones from Rice University told me that it appears Allred possibly has an early edge because of his appeal to possibly bring over moderate Democrats or even frustrated Republicans. Do you agree with that?
I think Mark's assessment for now is correct because both are not, very well known across the state. The perception that Allred is a better moderate candidate, I don't believe will last very long, and that tag will probably not be a factor in the primary. Remember, like Texas Republicans, Democrat candidates in Texas have to play to the party base to get on that November ballot, and that base certainly is not moderate in Texas. Both will eventually have to go beyond bashing Cruz and show why they are loyal to their party. Now, that could result in some flip-flopping campaigning for both candidates involving their voting records. For example, Gutierrez in the Texas Senate and Allred in Congress voted against legislation called Protect Women's Sports involving transgender athletes. Gutierrez voted against SB 14, which bans gender reassignment procedures on children. And while in Congress, Allred voted against the Parental Bill of Rights Act. Those may be gold stars for their primary voters, but they're hot-button issues that Cruz can use to divert from the gun control issue that's coming up in the general election. Stephen?
Greg, does Colin Allred have an early edge?
Stephen, other than announcing first and a head start in fundraising, I really don't think Allred has anything you'd consider a significant advantage. Both of these guys are more or less unknown quantities to voters in much of this state and face the hefty and very expensive job of building name ID and a brand. Remember, Democrat Beto O'Rourke spent more than $70 million in a statewide run last year and still got crushed by 11. And while Cruz has more detractors than Greg Abbott, I can't see either of these Democratic challengers raising even $30 million, especially when they are competing against each other for progressive dollars. Stephen, you gave Gutierrez multiple opportunities to tell us why he's better than Allred, and he declined. Clearly, that can't continue.
Rudy, shifting gears a bit, Gutierrez became very popular statewide and somewhat nationally after the tragedy in Uvalde. Does he run the risk of being a singular issue candidate?
Boy, Stephen, I hate to say this, but Groogan really knocked that one out of the park. He hit it right on the head, that nail. Senator Gutierrez certainly is a one-issue candidate right now and has an identity crisis, which is why identity is my word for that interview. He's trying to expand his message. Let's give him that, which is why his opening announcement video hit on other issues like the power grid. But I think the grid is a campaign miss, a big miss, and will not help him get over the top. And his defense of Biden, of the Biden administration during the interview, wow, that's not going to help him win any kind of votes outside of blue counties like Travis.
And the Ted Cruz campaign basically said that both candidates are going to be duking it out to see who's the most, in the Cruz campaign's words, radical left Democrat candidate is. Whoever comes out of this primary, Greg, you have the last word on this. Will they appear as a weaker candidate from possibly beating each other up in the primary?
First of all, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Rudy on everything. I think that's highly likely. Contested primaries are expensive and often politically brutal. And with the incumbency near universal name ID and a built-in red state advantage, Ted Cruz could mostly ignore whoever emerges as his Democratic challenger and run a campaign mostly aimed at Joe Biden in 2024. That strategy may not deliver a double-digit margin, but either of these Democratic challengers are going to need much, much more than Cruz's likability deficit to reach 50% plus one in a general election. The hard fact is, for the past quarter century, the political roadside in Texas is littered with current and former Democratic Texas senators and congressmen who've tried and failed to crack the GOP stranglehold on statewide office. Do either of you really believe the landscape has significantly changed?
All right. And
maybe.
I said last word, but I'm going to let y'all do this. In the way too early poll, what do you think? Who do you think emerges as the Democrat nominee, Rudy and Greg? Allred or Gutierrez?
Go ahead, Rudy.
Candidate number 3, the unknown yet.
Look, Stephen, in the last major election, something like 21% of the voters were Hispanic, 14% were African American. 40% of those Hispanics voted Republican. So I have no idea who's going to win this thing.
All right, that's all the time we have. To see this episode or any of our other ones, go to our station YouTube channels.